boys and girls, it's Ms. Marsico, and today we are going to read a book about two very good horse friends. This horse is Pogo. What reason he's like standing like that is because he really wants me to scratch his back. Let's see if you can see what he does with his lip. He does this really funny thing with his lip. He makes it go all squiggly. I don't know if he's going to do it. Oh, it feels really good. See his little lippy going funny? Yeah, it's a happy, scratchy lippy. See, oh, it feels so good. And then we're going to come over here and say hi to Hershey. He is our new little boy. And he has ended up, hi Hershey. He's, oh, there's a little nose, a big nose. You got a big nose there. And it ends up that he and Pogo have become really good friends. And that is what we're going to read about today. Two nice horse friends. You can see my horses are right here hanging out, listening to our story today. All right, Bonny's Big Day by James Herriot, and it's illustrated by Ruth Brown. You can see this is the Yorkshire Dales. That's where James Herriot lives, or lived. It's in England. One sunny morning in early September, I drove to see old John Skipton at Dale Close Farm, since he had telephoned to say that one of his cart horses was lame. There he is. As I got out of the car, the untidily dressed figure of the farmer came through the kitchen door of Dale Close. John always seemed to look like a scarecrow, and today was no different. He was wearing a tattered buttonless coat which was tied around his waist with string. His trousers were much too short, and as he hurried towards me, I could see that he was wearing socks of different colors. One was red and the other was blue. Let's look at him again. Do you see the string and the different socks? By working very hard when he was a young man, Mr. Skipton had saved enough money to buy his own farm with its handsome stone house. He had never married, and because he was always so busy looking after the sheep and cows on the hill, bringing in the harvest from the fields, and picking the apples in the orchard, he had been much too busy to worry about himself, why he was always dressed in such very old clothes. Look at his pretty farmhouse. See his house. The horses are down by the river, he said in his usual gruff manner. We'll have to go down there. He seized a pitchfork, stabbed it into a big pile of hay. Why do you think he's doing that? You see his picture with the hay? Think about it. He's going to see his horses, which he then hoisted onto his shoulder. I pulled my large Gladstone bag, and that's just his veterinary bag, if you can see it with him. There he is. His large Gladstone bag from the car and set off behind him. It was difficult to keep up with the farmer's brisk pace, even though he must have been 50 years older than me. I was glad when we reached the bottom of the hill because the bag was heavy and I was getting rather hot. I saw the two horses. Look at those good friends. Now they're draft horses, which are very big. And if you look at my guys, this is my guy Pogo, and he's a big, tall horse. And then Hershey's not quite as big. But the draft horses have to be even bigger, and they're very strong because they pull things. I saw the two horses standing in the shallows of the pebbly river. They were nose to tail and were rubbing their chins gently along each other's backs. Beyond them, a carpet of green turf ran up to a high, sheltered ridge, while all around clumps of oak and beech blazed in the autumn sunshine. They're in a nice place, Mr. Skipton, I said. Aye, they can keep cool in the hot weather, and they've got the barn when the winter comes. You can see my boy is wanting to kind of see what we're reading today, I think. If he gets too much closer, I may have to get up and move. Oh, look at that. At the sound of his voice, the two big horses came trotting up from the river. The gray one first, and the chestnut. He's a chestnut. And Pogo here is a chestnut too. And the chestnut following a little more, slowly, limping slightly. They were fine big cart horses, but I could see they were old from the sprinkling of white hairs on their faces. Despite their age, however, they pranced around old John, stamping their enormous feet, throwing their heads about, and pushing the farmer's cap over his eyes with their muzzles. "Get over, leave off," he cried. He's saying that in a nice way. I think he really loves his horses. There they are. He pulled at the gray horse's forelock. That's this part. "This is Bonny. She's well over 20 years old." Then he ran his hand down the front leg of the chestnut. "And this is Dolly. She's nearly 30 now, and not one day's sickness until now." "When did they last work?" I asked. "Oh, about 12 years ago, I reckon," the farmer replied. I stared at him in amazement. 12 years? Have they been down here all that time? "Aye, just playing about down here. They've earned their retirement." For a few seconds he stood silent, shoulders hunched, hands deep in the pockets of his tattered coat. "They worked very hard when I had to struggle to get this farm going," he murmured. And I knew he was thinking of the long years those horses had pulled the plow, drawn the hay and harvest wagons, and had done all the hard work which the tractors now do. Look at what a beauty of a horse. And here's the other horse eating the hay. That's why he brought the hay down, because horses love hay. And green spring grass, right, Pogo? Horses love green big spring grass. Someone just wanted to be part of the picture, apparently. Here he is, snuffing away, and you can see he just picks up every single piece. We moved a little further away, only because Mr. Pogo wouldn't hurt me on purpose, but he's a very big boy. My guess is he always has to know what's going on. He might come visit us again. All right. I noticed that Dolly was a bit lame when I came down with their hay yesterday, he said. "Lucky I come down each day." "You mean you climb down that hillside every single day?" I asked. "Aye, rain, wind, or snow. They look forward to me bringing a few oats or some hay." So I'm thinking that the farmer is probably almost 80 years old, because James Herriot at this point is probably in his 30s. So he said he's 50 years older. I examined Dolly's foot and found an old nail embedded deep in the soft part of her foot. I was able to pull it out quite easily with a pair of pincers and then gave her an anti-tetanus injection to eliminate any risk of later infection. There those good horse friends are. You can see it is a big hill they climb up. That old John climbs up every day. Climbing back up the hill, I couldn't think about how wonderful it was that old John had made the long journey to see the horses in all weather every day for 12 years. He certainly loved those great animals. A thought struck me and I turned to him. "You know, Mr. Skipton, it's the Derby show next Saturday. You should enter the mares in the family's pets class. I know they are asking for unusual entries this year. Perhaps you should only take Bonny, since Dolly's foot will be a bit sore for a few days." The farmer frowned. "What on earth are you talking about?" "Go on," I said. "Take Bonny to the show. Those horses are your pets, aren't they?" "Pets," he snorted. "You couldn't call one of those great big clodhoppers a pet. I've never heard anything so silly." When he got back to the farmyard, he thanked me gruffly, gave me a nod, and disappeared into his house. All right, this is the second part that we'll do next Friday, or maybe I'll put it out a little earlier. And look what you see there. Can we guess what's going to happen? I think he's going to take them to the big pet fair, to the fair. And who knows, maybe they'll win something.